for him. So we can tell clearly that all the 10 commandments, including the 4th commandment, was kept by the faithful children of God even before the nation of Israel ever existed. So we cannot make the biblical excuse of saying that the 10 commandments were only for the children of Israel. Was Abraham an Israelite? No, he wasn't. What about Noah? No, he wasn't. What about Adam? What about Seth, Methuselah, and all those faithful people? Were they from the tribe of Israel? No, they were not. So the 10 commandments is for every human being, because the 10 commandments is the commandments that are going to judge us. Those are that's where God's going to judge us out of. Did you keep this commandment? Did you keep that commandment? Did you keep the whole law? Okay. So that is more than clear. More than clear. Exodus 16:23 says, I'll drink a little water. Exodus 16:23. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath. Notice that word hath. This is that which the Lord hath said, tomorrow is the rest. Notice the word rest. Of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that ye will bake today, and seethe that ye will seethe, and that which remaineth overlay up for you to be kept until the morning. Exodus 16:30. So the people rested on the 7th day. So now we see the children of Israel, remember they went into Egypt, and what happened in Egypt? They couldn't keep the commandments. The Pharaoh was so evil. And even when Moses and Aaron came to tell him to let my people go, he went even more harsher. And now they even had to make their own bricks, so they were not keeping the commandments like they should have. So here comes Moses again, reminding them of those 10 commandments the Lord had said. And remember that Moses wrote the book of Genesis. So he remembered what God has said in that Genesis chapter 2. Tomorrow is the rest, the holy of the Sabbath unto the Lord. So on the Sabbath we are to rest from all labor. In other words, on the 6th day, which is Friday, and we're going to see a calendar in just a moment. And so on the 6th we are to bake that which we're going to bake, which is Friday, the day of preparation. We are to bake on that day what we need to bake. And seethe, that word seethe means to boil. So boil that you're going to boil, and that which remaineth lay over for you to be kept until the morning. So they were to make a preparation to cook on Friday the food that is needed for the Sabbath day. And we, our Seventh-day Adventists, we do that practice. So we do cook before and have all our meals prepared, and we just warm them up and eat them. And also, not only does it include our food, but it also includes our clothes. Our clothes need to be washed and cleaned and pressed or ironed. The clothes need to be in the cleaner even before preparation day. So before preparation day, you could grab them, or on preparation day, you go get your cleaners and have all your suits clean, everything clean, your shoes clean. All the showers need to be taken. Yeah, so Moses is speaking to the children of Israel to cook food. He tells them today, bake today, because tomorrow you're not to bake. Tomorrow you're not to boil. On this 6th day, all food needs to be cooked, the clothes washed, dried, and ironed, shoes clean. All the home needs to be clean. And as a matter of fact, when the preparation day, it's as if we're preparing for Jesus to come. Because the presence of Jesus will be with us, right? Through the Holy Spirit. And abide in our hearts. So we want to enter into that rest. And not only do we prepare physically, but there's also spiritual preparation. So all the clothes need to be prepared. We need to be ready spiritually, physically. Things prepared for the Sabbath day, but also this day, remembering that the law is spiritual. Okay, we're going to look at that a little later on. Now keep on having that note on the preparation in the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 54. Notice what it says, okay? And that day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew on. Verse 55. And the woman also which came with him from Galilee followed after, and beheld the sepulchre, and how his body was laid. Verse 56. And they returned and prepared spices and ointments, and rested on the Sabbath according to the commandments. There's two things we can learn from here. First of all, in verse 54, that day was the preparation. The 6th day, which is before the Sabbath, is the day of preparation. And notice that they prepared spices, right? And they prepared, and also you could say that in another verse. They had all their spices prepared. And also, notice what it says in 56, and they returned and prepared spices and ointments. And then after they done all their work, they rested on the seventh day according to the commandments. So this tells us two things. That the Jewish people, the commandments were not broken just because Jesus died. Or they were not nulled or made non-effect. Even though Jesus was completely dead, the disciples still went and kept the moral law. So the moral law is still binding. Now we're going to look at the calendar, which I wish you could do a close-up, please. So here's our calendar. Could you do a close-up, please? Thank you. And I made a calendar for February 2018. I just want us to look at it for a moment, and then we're going to look at it again. And you can barely see the February the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. That's the many days it's in the month of February. But we can see very clearly that the month, the whole weekly cycle, which is 7 days every week, it begins on Sunday and it ends on Saturday, which being first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. Now I want you to notice something else. That each day biblically starts on the evening and the morning. The evening and the morning, the evening and the morning, the evening and the morning. Every day, that's how it ends. So now let's look at the biblical to show that out. Let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 1. And we want to look at that. Why does God tell us that? Well, God is all wise and all we got to do is obey Him. Genesis 1:2, but He gives us here, it says, and God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Okay, verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. I'm not giving the full verses. If you want to read the whole verses, read the whole chapter, Genesis chapter 1. I'm focusing on the evening and the morning were the first day, the evening and the morning were the second day, the evening and the morning, and so forth. Okay? So God called that the second day, right? The evening and the morning were the second day. Notice how God divides the day by evening and morning. It's not morning and evening. Focus on that order that God did. Verse 13, and the evening and the morning were the third day. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. That's verse 19, verse 23, verse 31. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. That was verse 23, 31. And God saw everything that He has made, and behold, it was very good. The evening and the morning were the sixth day. Now the seventh day doesn't have an evening and the morning biblically in this Genesis chapter 1, but we do know that God is not going to contradict, right? So the same schedule that is for the first day is going to be the same schedule that is for the seventh day. But the seventh day has a blessing and a sanctification. So notice that the first day is Sunday, the second day is Monday, the third day is Tuesday, the fourth day is Wednesday, the fifth day is Thursday, and the sixth day is Friday, the day of preparation, and the seventh day is the Sabbath. Now notice that each day was evening and morning. So if we want to find which day or when does the Sabbath begin, then we want to look at the sixth day. The sixth day begins with an evening, right? Now where will the evening begin? Maybe I'm confusing you. Let me say it a little better. Let's say you want to see where does Thursday begin. So we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The evening and the morning makes it a Sunday. The evening and the morning makes it a Monday. Evening and morning. So if you want to look first day, second, third, fourth, you want to look at Thursday, which is the fifth day, then you will look that the day will begin at evening. In other words, what I'm saying is when it's Wednesday night, biblically, it is Thursday night. When it's Friday night, biblically, it's the Sabbath, the seventh day. So every time there's an evening, God started the evening and the morning to be one whole day. The evening and the morning. When that morning is done and when the sun comes and it's dark now, that begins a new day. So God intended for us to begin the days how? get ready, shower, clean, pray, have your devotion, go to sleep. And what happens? That now we in the world, we have a different complete system. What do we believe? If you were raised worldly, like I was, you believe that the day has 12 hours and the morning has 12 hours. And the days begin in the morning. And the weekly cycle, we still have it. In some calendars are removed it. We still have the weekly cycle, no matter what calendar you use. It could be the Gregorian, the Roman, etc. You always have the 7-day weekly cycle. That has never been changed, and it never will be. Until, well, not even in heaven, we're always going to keep the Sabbath. But it might not be like the weekly, I don't know. Let me not get into that. Maybe I could get to that another time. So you see the evening and the morning. So if we want to find the Sabbath day, we're going to see it Friday when the sun sets, when it's dark already, when it's night. That will be the beginning of the Sabbath. And remember that we saw in Luke 23, they prepared the spices, and what did they do? They went and rested according to the commandment. The night came, and what happens? It's time to rest. No more doing spices. We're done here. Let's go get and rest according to the commandment. And so, if something here is not very clear, I'm more than willing, if you ask any questions, more than willing to answer them with the Bible. And so for me, that is very clear. The evening and the morning is not like we think, oh, the day starts in the morning. It doesn't. Biblically, the day starts when it gets dark. That's a new day. When God made the first day began where? Where it got dark. And we just saw that in Genesis 1:5, and God called the light, and the darkness he called night. The light he called day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So the whole weekly cycle, it begins with evening and morning. Evening and morning. Evening and morning. So we need to understand that very importantly, because if we lack to understand that, we're not going to understand the keeping of the 7-day Sabbath. We want to have every day correctly done. Now let me tell you something in case you don't know this. Looking at the, when you do a close-up, please. Looking at the commandments. Remember those little orange letters that you really can't see? This is Thursday, the 1st of February. That's not how the week begins, okay? It doesn't begin on Thursday just because that's the first day of February. No. It begins here, that week. And that could have been, I don't know, I don't have a calendar right now. Let me check real quickly. Okay, so this was the 28th of January. 28th, 29th, 30, and 31. Okay, so even though it's part of January, it's still a weekly cycle. It's not where the days land that makes it a week. Or if this begins here, then that's the first day. No, it's always Sunday, the first day of the week. The first day of work. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sabbath. That's how it goes, the 7th day. So it's not which numerical day your month begins. That's unbiblical. Okay, let's continue. Now let's look how zealous Nehemiah was for the 7-day Sabbath. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 15. Nehemiah 13:15. In those days saw I Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath day. And bringing in sheaves and ladding asses, and also wine and grapes and figs and all manner of burdens. So these children of Israel were not being obedient. Nehemiah was loving the Lord, being faithful and obedient, zealous for the God of heaven, and zealous for his 10 commandments, including the Sabbath. And what happened? These children of Israel were being disobedient. They're carrying asses, their animals, food, and they're not even caring to watch out on the Sabbath. They're just coming into the gates and carrying burdens, and which they should have done before the Sabbath. And all manner of burdens, it tells us here in Nehemiah 13. Let's go to the next verse. It says, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. They even were selling things. Can you believe it? Or buying things. They could have been selling and buying. Verse 16. And there dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish, and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath day. So not only were the children of Israel engaged in carrying burdens on the Sabbath day, which that also means physically, we could also take it to another level spiritually. And it says, also this men of Tyre, which were not Jewish, they were also bringing in fish and selling things. And the children of Israel were going and buying things from this men. It says, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah. And in Jerusalem, verse 17, then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that you do and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon the city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. Verse 19, and it came to pass when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut. So when it began to get dark, oh, the Sabbath is coming. Well, let's go ahead and shut these gates. So this men of Tyre and these rebellious children of Israel, carrying burdens, coming to the gates after Sabbath, he shut the gate to prevent that breaking of the law. I commanded that the gate should be shut, and I charged that they should not be opened after the Sabbath, till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants said, I had gates, and there shall be no burden brought in on the Sabbath day. So Nehemiah fixed the problem. Okay, children, you guys know about the commandments, but you guys continue to come in and carry burdens and be buying things on the Sabbath which you're not supposed to buy. Then I'm going to go ahead and shut the door. So we see there Nehemiah was zealous for the commandments. And also we know that the law is spiritual. That's why I said we can carry that burden physically, a sorrow. We can carry sorrow on the Sabbath day, which we're not supposed to carry. Or we can literally carry burdens, like it says there. Exodus 20:11. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth. That's exactly like almost a perfect parallel with Genesis chapter 2. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Now have you thought about this, little children? God took such consideration that He's such a holy God, all-knowing, wise God, to rest on that particular 7-day Sabbath for you to content God and say, well, no, I want Sunday. Do you see how rebellious we can be? And so, how could we do that? God took all that care. He worked on 6 days, starting Sunday. And then He worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the preparation. And He rested on the 7th day. God all wise and know, who are we to judge that wisdom of God on that holy and blessing that He put, the sanctification of the 7th day. So He rested, wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day. So nobody can remove the 7th day. That blessing and sanctification only intended for today, the 7th day Sabbath. Nobody can move it and can say, okay, God, can you please make some modification on your commandments, which is your character. Might as well make your modification on your character too, because I don't want the Sabbath. I want Sunday. Or like the Muslims, they want Friday. Can we make a modification? No, we cannot. Either we take the whole law or we don't take anything. We're not going to modify. That's a great sin to modify. Remember, there's a curse. And we're going to see that following month. If there's a curse on Revelation that says whoever takes away or adds to the Bible, there's a curse, and they're going to be partakers of the lake of fire. And that includes the commandments, not just everything else. The whole book. We don't want to remove and we don't want to add. We want to take it as it is or leave it as it is. In other words, we can only enter into His rest by resting in God and cease from our works. These works are physical works, like cleaning dishes, laundry, all of that physical work, and also sinful works. Matthew 11:28. Let's take these commandments now and let's take them to a deeper level and let's look at them spiritually. Resting on God, okay? Matthew 11:28 through 30. I'm going to let you write that down. Come unto me, all you that labor. Labor is work, right? Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest